Hello, and welcome to Always with Awareness. My name is Awa Lodmel.
And my name is Douglas Lodmel. And today we wanted to talk about one of the tools that we've found incredibly helpful.
Yes.
And that is A Course in Miracles. So it's a book, as you can see. And it's just something that, wow, we've been listening to for 15 years.
More.
Maybe more.
Absolutely.
So it's something my mother introduced me to many years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's a manual, mm-hmm. right? It's an actual workbook. It actually comes in three parts: a manual for teachers, a text, which is a logical type of text, and then a workbook, which is daily lessons, literally 365 daily lessons. And so I introduced it to you,
yes.
And we downloaded it we had it on CDs before Audible, and then eventually we got Audible, and we bought it on Audible.
Yeah.
And we actually go to bed to it every single night.
Every night for the past 18 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's been our constant companion for bedtime.
Yes.
And we set it on a timer, and we set 60 minutes, and so it's just something we if you can't quite sleep, you listen. If you go to sleep quickly, it's still playing. I've read it several times and done the workbook, and I guess what I'd say to start with is its title, A Course in Miracles. And I think that my perception of what a miracle was walking on water or turning water into wine, like from the Bible, what Jesus did.
Yeah,
that was a miracle. Some
Raising
kind of
the dead.
Miraculous thing that transcended physics, right?
Yeah.
That was a miracle. Yeah. But that's not actually how it's defined in A Course in Miracles. It's defined as a change in perception. So in A Course in Miracles, a miracle would be an alcoholic who changes their perception of alcohol and stops drinking. That would be a miracle. And it is a miracle, as
it is.
You can probably attest to.
Mm-hmm.
And miracles don't have degrees of difficulty because changes in perceptions don't have degrees of difficulty.
No.
When you change your perception, it's any perception can be changed just as easily as any other perception.
In a second.
Any second.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a reversal of thinking in so many ways, and I would credit it with so much of what we talk about and where we're coming from when we're doing these podcasts is really based in that change in perception, that reversal of thinking of the world.
That's right.
And Freud really coined ego and this concept of this other living inside of you that is not quite you, right? Your ego.
Yeah.
And the Course in Miracles uses that language. So it uses that distinction of ego. Mm-hmm. And how your ego is representing one thought system and the Course is representing another thought system. And it really comes down to the idea that all the meaning we make out of everything is exactly that, meaning that we make out of everything.
Yes.
And so the very first lesson in the Course is nothing I see means anything. And if we think about that, it's true. Like you think that microphone means something, but it's only because you've made it mean something.
That's right.
It doesn't mean something to someone who hadn't made that meaning already.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's we wanted to introduce this because tools are incredibly valuable.
Yes.
We don't get places without tools. Try changing the oil in your car without a wrench. It's like virtually impossible. I mean, you can't even get the nut out, right? You can't even get the bolt out.
Well, life itself is just an opportunity to gather tools to know ourselves more.
Right.
That's what it is. Everything is a tool.
Everything.
Another human being is a tool for you. Everything is a tool. And I love this book, and I've been listening to it. I will never finish listening to it because I fall asleep always before the hour, which is beautiful. So I'm still reading the same book for the past 18 years. But it didn't become a reading at the end. It was something very easy for me to understand. For most people, it's going to be hard, because the hardest thing to do is to let go.
Yeah.
And this book is about letting go. It's about letting go. But you can't let go if you're still holding even to the little piece of the thing that you need to let go.
Right.
So it's first, let it all go, and then see what part do you ever need again. Right?
Well, it's very, very hard to let it all go, and
Exactly.
usually you have to let it go in pieces, which is why it's divided up into little chunks.
Well, most of the time we let go when something dramatic hits us. And it's like, before it gets there, let it go. It's like die before you die.
Yeah.
Right? We all know one day we're gonna leave this place, at least this body. But if you die before you die, you're not afraid of dying anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And then other people dying is more of a celebration than a pain, because you understand what they have let go got nothing to do with who they are. Now, we always talk with concept, because if it wasn't concept, then we would not dig deeper to understand each other. Right. And by understanding each other, meaning you understand more yourself. But in the absolute, there is no concept. But we need it to talk and to interact. And that is what the course, I guess, for me, had done. You know, how it uses concept in the non-conceptual life.
It's using concepts to break down the idea of the concept of concept.
The concept we have already built in. To use it so you can see how you conceptualize this life, all your doors and your exit and your walls. And he talks to you in a way that you can understand that, oh, wow, this is talking directly to me. But yet, to let it go. So the more you do that, the more you see that there's none of us living without the rest of us. And that's a beautiful thing. And that is safe. That takes you to a safe place. Yeah. People want to be divided. And this course was the most inclusive thing that I ever read. And it's all about inclusiveness. Yeah. Because, again, to be inclusive is to let go.
Well, and
for life to touch you, for people to come into your life, you know, for whatever you pray for to arrive, you have to let go. Because if not, you can't.
Yeah.
You know? So that was what I got and more. I mean, we can talk about the Course of Miracles, that alone.
We could do podcasts about Course in Miracles indefinitely, right? The concepts are so, and every time we listen to it, I hear something brand new. I'm like,
absolutely.
How can I listen to this thing and be reading it for 20 years and find new stuff every time?
That's right.
But you brought up one of the concepts that the Course makes clear, which is we're only going to do this together. There's no you're going to succeed, you're going to win, and somebody else is going to lose. It's just not true. We are all together in this. It's an all or nothing, right? And that in the end, there's no question as to the outcome. Because if God said it, if the outcome is set, that the will of God is for all to be saved, well then, who can withstand that will? None of us, right? We are all. The only difference is time. How much time we choose to put in. And that's what is very interesting, because the Course says, this Course is here to save time. The outcome is certain, but the timing is up to you.
Yes.
So it's a required course, as the Course says it.
It's a required course because you are here. Life is required.
It is not required in this form.
No.
That you can find a different form, and there are, and it says there are thousands, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to find A Course in Miracles as the only form. But the ideas behind the Course, the idea that we are going to let things go and let our interpretation of things go, and that is the pathway, because the whole point of the course is to basically make clear that your judgment is not serving you. You are not being served by judging anything, because you don't even know what anything is. How could you? How could I? How could I know what anything really is? Because everything I see around me is just the meaning I've made it mean, which is why we can disagree so fiercely about stuff, is because this person over here has made this mean this, and this other person has made it mean this, and this group over here has made it mean this, and they're ready to go to war together because they've all made something mean a different thing. If all of us realize that we don't really know what anything means, then we can possibly reach that perception change and realize what a miracle is, and quit judging each other, because the judgment is where it all goes off the rails. I mean, judge not lest you be judged. It's pretty clear to me what that means.
Well, and again, you know, what I love about this book is how it addressed the mind.
Yeah, it's all about it.
It's all about the mind. If you really want to know how this mind works, that was one of the pieces that just will really, literally tells you how it works. And all the tricks that you are doing.
What the ego is doing, all the tricks of the ego.
Exactly. And again, you know, the ego is not some entity that is out there beside, that is not you and try to trick you. No, it's just from your beliefs, are you inclusive or you're not?
Yeah.
That's all. You know, because if you look at it again, even if you are in front of somebody who believes different than you, but in this conversation, where do you want to end up with them?
Right.
If where you want to end up with them is already decided, that is not together, there is no freaking way you're going to accept anything he or she is saying or doing. Yeah. And that's what brings war. It's already set that I don't want you, and I'm going to take what you have.
Yeah, I'm already set against you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you
because of a belief structure that I've had, that I made it mean this, and
exactly.
that I made what you believe mean this, and there's no coming together on that.
And from there, the game is on. The war is on.
War is on, the game is on.
And it's the same thing with talking with somebody that you don't have a political view, the same political view, or the same religion, or who believes in God or who doesn't believe in God. In this relationship here, where do I want to go with you? Do I want to end up inclusive or not?
Well, I can tell you, if you sit down with any person and you decide, I'm going to be with them at the end of this conversation, I don't care what it takes, you will.
You will.
Now, how do you have to be in order to do that? You're not going to be able to come with any fixed ideas. You're not going to be able to come with any hard concepts that you are not willing to give on. You're basically going to have to meet them where they're at. That's how you're going to get to where you're together at the end of that conversation. And you say, no, but Doug, I'm not where they're at. I'm not there. Okay, well then you're not going to be together. So decide what your goal is to hold on to your ideas, which are not true, by the way, and say, that's it, my interpretation, my ideas, my conceptions are all that matters, or I want to end up with this person. And yes, it involves you being flexible, but that is the opening for the miracle, because the miracle is a change in perception. So if I say, you know what, honey, I'm not getting up until we're on the same page, we'll get on the same page even if I have to do gymnastics in my belief and my understanding to get where you're at. If I'm willing to do it, we will leave on the same page. So I have to decide what's more important, being on the same page or being right.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think that's the question we all need to ask ourselves. And unfortunately, the ego loves being right.
Yes.
And for the ego, which I would say is a programming, it's not, again, it's not an alternate, entity inside you or anything. It's a programming of your brain. So for your existing programming, which we're going to call the ego, being right is the primary goal.
That's right.
So you've got to decide.
You got to decide. And again, if who you are, and because at first I had a hard time reading anything that is so close to my beliefs, right? We all are, and I'm sharing it very vulnerable. It's not easy. It's your beliefs. It's like, oh my God, what does it mean if right now I question even myself?
Yeah.
Or what I always lived.
Right.
And it's so funny. When you start questioning, you're going to see for real things for what they are. But at least now you have a choice to embrace them or question them and open the communication.
Yeah.
Right? So when I arrived to that flexibility with my mind, my whole life changed. Now I could be with somebody who doesn't have the same beliefs as me, but I don't have to judge it because who I am is so open. It's not affecting me in the point where I feel like, oh my God, I'm sitting here just listening to you.
Right, and boiling and nervous system triggered because this is not my belief. I can't get to where you are.
And most of the time, people feel like just listening to somebody's belief is a sin.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Like, especially if it's challenging their beliefs.
Exactly. But I always say to myself, it doesn't make any sense. If what I feel is right, and what I feel is good and feels good, and nobody can take any away from me no matter what, they cannot. You can put the person in jail, but you cannot jail their mind. So why can't I just sit here and listen and see if there is something for me to take?
Yeah.
And most of the time, there is something for me to take. There is no conversation where you're not taking anything if you are flexible.
Well, and think about it this way. If you want to be on the page with somebody, okay, let's use our friend as an example. If someone said to you, hey, you need to have lunch with this person, and at the end of this lunch, this person needs to see you as someone who's in alignment with them. And if they do, I'm writing you a check for $10 million. $10 million. All you have to do is get through one lunch. Could you do it?
Oh, yes.
You better bet you could do it. You would do whatever it takes, because that $10 million would be like, I will be in alignment with this person, right? So, but the condition is you have to be authentic. You can't just lie your way through that, because we're going to know. So how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to find the things that you are in alignment with. So you're going to listen carefully and go, okay, I'm waiting to hear something I agree with here, and I'm going to find it. And when you find it, you're going to go there, and you're going to drill down into that, and you're going to focus that lunch for $10 million on that thing, so that at the end, you've drilled a deep hole in something that you agree on that person with, and you ignored the 99% of the stuff that you didn't agree with, and you're going to get your $10 million check.
Yeah. Well, I guess, I always say that, I use that with my kids, when they forget more than once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, I said, oh, I see. If your coach in basketball had told you, and at the end will you forget? And my brother, no. I say, So we most of the time living our life with a $10 million that we are exactly had chosen where it's coming from. And that's not how universe is working. Doesn't care about, it's just the gold is in everywhere, anytime. Unfortunately, it's not something you and I, we can give to you.
Yeah.
It's something you have to believe that is already there. We cannot give it to you. So how are you going to get the $1 million every day, in every talk? It's up to you. You're going to have to start seeing every relationship in your life full of gold and having a message for you for where you want to get to.
Yeah, it's not that one conversation for that 1 hour at lunch is going to get you the 10 million. It's that it's somewhere, and you have to treat every conversation like that, every interaction like that. You have to, what would happen? Actually ask yourself, what would happen if I treated every interaction with every person I meet like that? I'm going to listen carefully for something I agree with, and then I'm going to drill down into that, and I'm going to leave that conversation feeling closer to that person and having made a connection. If you did that every time you met somebody, what would your world look like?
Oh my God, amazing. You'll be somebody who can talk to anybody and who can learn from anybody.
You'll be friends with the Republicans. You'd be friends with the Democrats. You'd be friends with the Muslims. You'd be friends with the Christians. You'd be friends with the Jews. You'd be friends with everybody, because you would be finding the commonality and exacerbating that, accentuating that, finding the place in which you guys share something and saying, that's what I want to focus on. On the other hand, if you always look for where I disagree, you're a contrarian, you're just going to constantly listen. I'm going to listen and, oh, there's my point. I'm going to argue with you.
Yes.
What's your world going to look like? How many friends are you going to have?
And that's why this world is full of followers and not leaders.
Yeah.
Because a leader is somebody who really can talk to anybody and learn from everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And another tool we use is Sadhguru. Sadhguru is on the internet. He's on YouTube. He's just an amazing, leader. He's a leader.
Yes.
And he advises, question everything. Like, use your mind. Don't just accept. I'm not telling you to accept anything I'm saying. Use the tools, question, listen. Listen for what we're saying and see if it makes sense, and then try it for yourself. Course in Miracles says the same thing. It says, you don't even have to agree with this. Just lower your barriers enough to try it so that you can make your own assessment after you've tried it. But if you prejudge everything, it's like, no, I'm not going to get it there. I'm not going to get it there. I'm not going to get it from this woman. She's not going to be my teacher.
That's right.
I'm not going to get it from this guy. He's not going to be my teacher.
Yeah.
Then, you know what? You might miss it. It's like the story of the guy in the flood, right? Everyone knows this one, I think.
Yes.
Where he's on the top, he's on the roof, and he's like, God, please save me. And along comes a helicopter. And the guy goes, no, it's okay. God's going to save me. And then it comes a boat. No, you can go. God's going to save me.
I know.
He dies. He goes to heaven. He goes, God, I prayed. I knew you were going to save me. He goes, I sent a helicopter. I sent a boat.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what it is, We come with the mind of we know exactly how I'm going to be taught. That's not how it works, And this life is so funny, by the way, is if you are so locked into this way is my only way, what is God going to do? He's going to just put you in places where you have to practice now. Practice, because every big books that are here given for us, for humanity, is saying one thing and one thing only, to be inclusive.
Yeah.
To let the judgment. But we're using that same book to be not inclusive and to be judgmental. That's the irony.
It is ironic. And of course, that's how it works, right?
Exactly. So I saw myself where reading a book like this, and I know a lot of people will be triggered. I've met people that were like, oh, I don't want to read anything that is talking about even Jesus. Jesus can be talking about anywhere else but in the Bible. Right. So I'm saying, no. What kind of Jesus would be that Jesus?
Right. That can only show up in one place.
Right. What kind of God is that God? That can only, he said, I'm everywhere. So I'm looking into everybody and trying to see where is God in them. Mm-hmm. In every book, where is God talking to me directly? And that's where the walls of concepts are gone.
Yeah.
Yes, we need concepts just to relate, but the end of this is for letting go of all these concepts.
Yeah, the where we're going is to not have any concepts, to just be in understanding of that oneness, that we are all one. There's not a billion sons of God, there's just one. We're just all aspects of that one expression. So it's everywhere. It's everywhere you look. And that's the beautiful thing, honestly, about where we're at as a society and a technology. I've said it before, I really believe it. I really believe this technology that we're talking with you on right now, the internet, video, YouTube, Instagram, this is the key to increasing this understanding, because you can hear it any way you want to hear it. You can find the messenger that fits you.
That's right.
And
you're talking, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, but it's just, I hear a concept there in what you said, which is just, you're going to be in trouble for that one, a child of God.
Yeah.
Right? We know what we mean. We could, yes, choose to say a creation of God. But where is that saying come from? We know God is not a human form that have a child, because I know so many people just with that would be offended.
Well, yeah.
So just to show you how concepts work is for your child, if you have to explain God, he will have to feel like, okay, we put God in the human form because that's where we can relate.
That's the only way we can conceptualize God,
that's
right?
Exactly.
And so then we use a word, God.
Exactly.
And then in many religions they say, well, actually, there's more than one word. Let's use 99 names of God so that we can represent all the different aspects, or let's make different versions of the God in the Hindu. And so we have different gods that represent. It's all just concepts. Everybody. It's all just concepts.
Yeah.
And I will never argue a concept of mine is somehow right.
No.
I will acknowledge immediately it's not. I don't even know. It's just a helpful concept. That's all. It's helpful.
It's not only is helpful, it evolves.
Oh,
Concepts
for sure.
evolves, right?
Mm-hmm.
It evolves. But doesn't mean your understanding of the other person's concept, once you evolve from it, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist at all. Because you can remember when it used to be existing for you.
Right.
Right.
And you can go back down and access it to
exactly.
meet somebody there.
Exactly.
So I'll do it all the time. There's a concept, I'm speaking with somebody, and they have a concept, and I can see the construct that they're working within. Mm-hmm. And I'll go, oh, let's meet in that construct because I understand it and I'm happy to be there.
That's right.
There's no job of pulling anybody out of their constructs. It's fine. Everybody's free to stay in their concepts and their constructs.
But you can only do that if you have let go
of judgment.
Of all concepts.
And the judgment around this concept is a right concept and a wrong concept.
Yeah. And that's where this book, I think, is so good and so fine, the way it's just getting into your mind. You just know that this is beyond a little concept mind. It's somebody who really has evolved into, I don't have any doubt that is Jesus, which when you say Jesus, again, it's a concept.
It's a concept.
It's a thought. It's a thought. Like they say, God is a thought. And it's a beautiful thought. When you rise to that beautiful thought, you can understand how the oneness again, So that's, for me, what the Course in Miracles is.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful tool. And we wanted to introduce it to you because it's been so powerful and so helpful to us. Mm-hmm. It is definitely a something that you have to work with.
Yeah.
It's not a read once and you're done. It's follow the lessons, the 365 days. That would be my first recommendation, is simply get the book and start with lesson 1 and just do what it says. And then if you're inspired, read the text. If you're inspired, download it and listen to it when you're in the car or before bed or whatever. But I think it's something that is incredibly powerful, and there's just so much in there that will be incredibly helpful to you. I'm sure, just as it has been to us.
The other thing is the other gift that the Course of Miracle is this concept of who we are very clearly you understand that you are a thought. Because if you look at it, even the people that were in your life that you love so much and their body is no longer here, but they do exist in your memories and in your thoughts, So, and at the same time, he say, you won't go without them. But just listen to a thought that is so hard that you're holding on to. The thought can't go. You cannot let it go, and you can't move either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you let go of finally the thought, then you can move. So all these people that affects you in your life that you are not letting go and freeing them, is you can't go either. So
you're imprisoning yourself.
You're imprisoning yourself. So this thing is not about being pitiful to people or being kind for the sake of being kind. No, it's you realizing that you are nothing without everything.
Yeah.
It's that simple, that you are not going to move. You're simply not going to move. Wherever you think that your knowledge, your whatever is going to take you, you're not going to get there unless you free yourself. And how do you free yourself is by freeing others.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah. And this just leads to a whole nother conversation that I think we're going to have next time.
Absolutely.
Because this is a deep book that has so much to teach, and we can just keep talking around this for many shows. So
that's right.
But please comment. I think this might have been the first show that we really kind of dug directly into the spirituality of things, and I think it's important. You're going to certainly see a lot more of this because, this is the root of it. Everything we're talking about, you're training your mind, but you're training your mind around all these concepts. And spirituality is one of the core pillars of all of our conceptual frameworks, right? We all have core pillars, and your spirituality is one of them. Whether you have a very strong base in a religion or whether you consider yourself an atheist, it's still a belief structure, right?
Exactly.
They're not different. So being able to understand your own belief structure and see how its thinking is causing you to react and act in the world is the point of this. And so we're just going to keep talking about it and please comment and let us know where you'd like to see us go on that.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for joining us on Always with Awareness. And please comment, subscribe, like, share this video. Please subscribe on YouTube. That's the most important. And put your notifications on if you'd like to be notified. But we release a show every Friday, so you can just know to come back and see us here. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.